Today we will paint this Monstera Leaf. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it correctly. I think so. And we will be using the wide flat brush, our round medium brush, and a small detail brush. And we'll be using the colors red, yellow, blue, white, and black. So the basics. So to get started, you can use a brush, or if you have a palette knife that looks like this, you can use this as well. If not, you can just grab one of your brushes. And we're gonna take a bunch of this yellow and we're gonna put it in a new section. And we're gonna add just a dab of blue to it. So it should make a nice, like a highlighter-ish green color. Once we're there, we just want to slowly add the blue to this color until it gets like a nice true green. So this is looking good. We're going to draw the line here where this center stem is going to be. So we're just going to do like one uneven line going up the canvas. And I like to start from the bottom and work my way up. So let me move this closer so you guys can see. And so that I also can do it and not mess up. So, and just take your time. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna make a nice curved line all the way up so that we have our stem. And that's where we're gonna start from. Getting it all over the place. Okay, so that's our curved line. So from here, we can start making these outer edges of the top of the leaf. So I'm going to bring this side, this right side up and around with a nice little arc shape. So I'm gonna just continue this up and around. So we have a nice arc there. It ends like maybe 2 inches from the edge of the canvas. Okay, perfect. So now we can do the other side is gonna be a looser arc. So we're gonna bring this line up and around, but we're gonna smooth it on down. So it kind of is like a wave at the end of the arc. Let me show you guys. So from here, we're gonna go up and over. Okay. So it kind of looks like the beginning of like a little seedling plant. So from here, this is gonna be probably the most difficult part out of all of it. We're just gonna outline the entire plant. So you guys are just gonna follow me step by step, and we're gonna go by each part of the leaf and work our way side to side until we get down to the bottom. So we'll start on the right side. And you see how this arc ends right here? I'm actually gonna come in about 1 inch and make a nice little arc, and my arc's gonna end at the tip there. The other side is actually easier. This arc is gonna start at the tip and then slowly come up and around It's gonna go in maybe like 2 inches, just like that. Okay, so the next leaf, we'll go back to the other side because we're going side to side. So we're gonna start at the bottom of this arc here, and we're just gonna go out and create a nice long leaf that's gonna end maybe a 1/4 inch from the edge of the canvas. So let me show you guys. So we're gonna bring this around here and over, just like that. Mine's pretty close, but you guys get the idea. So once I bring this arc down, the shape is coming right back up to the center. So we're gonna literally bring it down from this point up into the center. You don't want to go any further in than your other mark. This shape is going to remain the same distance going down our leaf for all of the leaves. So your cutouts, they're like limited in how close they should get to where your stem is. So from here, we're gonna scoop our arc here around and we're gonna go back out with it. You saw that scoop? Let's see, and we're gonna go out to the edge where the tip of this part of the leaf is. So I scooped it around and now I'm gonna take my line out here and I'm gonna stop. So I'm gonna come down at an angle. I'm getting really close to the edge here. I'm basically touching it. Okay, and then once you have that line going down, you just bring it on in too, just like the other one. We're gonna arc it up, that line, and bring it in. So now we're gonna go back to the other side here, and we're gonna do the next leaf. And this leaf is we're arching around here. And my leaf also is gonna have a little bit of an arc shape to it because it's coming down. And we're gonna meet where our other leaf is at here on the edge. Okay, so the next part, now that we stopped here, we're going to come down and finish the edge of the leaf shape. So now our leaf is taking in that heart shape that the leaf naturally has. So we're gonna bring it in a little bit. And we stop again. And the bottom line of this one is actually gonna arc up closer, arc up higher here. So I'm gonna bring this up so that this part of the leaf is thicker towards the edge and thinner towards the inside. So now I believe it's time for us to go back to this side, and what we're gonna do here is make the next gap a little bit wider. So now our leaf is gonna get a little bit more character to it. So we're gonna curve around this line here. And we're gonna make a nice thick gap between this part of the leaf, and I'm taking it all the way to the edge. Okay, and then once you get to the edge, we're gonna come down and we're gonna finish. Now this heart shape on this leaf is gonna come in this way. So when I come down with this sharp line, it's gonna go in a little bit more. Just like that. And once you have that shape, we're arcing the bottom of this line up and into the center. So now we're back on this side. We're gonna do the next leaf. So by now you guys should be in the routine of making a little arc on the inside of the line. And we're gonna make a nice thin space between these two leaves. Boom. And then the heart shape on that is gonna still come on around town here. And again, the arc at the bottom line of this section is gonna go up, high, and come around. So now on the other side, back over here, we're gonna do a really thin gap between this and the next leaf. So the next leaf is actually gonna be pretty wide. So let me show you guys how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna make a nice little sliver shape here. Okay, and then we're gonna bring the edge down. A lot. So it makes sense. And then I'll show you guys how we come in on the side, because I'm not gonna go in too much. Just like that. So now that I did this little line here, like so, I'm gonna draw the little circle shape in the leaf that they sometimes have. So it's just gonna be kind of like a very soft triangle shape. Very organic looking. It's not perfect. And then we're back on this side. We can finish this side of the leaf now. So this is our last little scoop around that we're doing. We're gonna scoop this guy around. And I'm gonna arc this line down. Okay, and we're gonna stop at the edge. And then now we can finish out this bottom curve. So it's really like a very loose S shape down here at the bottom, connecting this part of the leaf with the tip of the leaf. So we go around. Wonderful. We finished one side. So now on this side, we just still have a few more things to do. So we're going to arc this line around again. Oops. Hopefully. And we're gonna bring this out with a little bit of space to it, not too much. I'm gonna bring this down, continuing my heart shape for the overall exterior of the leaf. And we'll arc this in like so. Then we can do our last little section of leaves. So we're gonna leave a big gap here and then come around and finish it at the tip with a nice little arc at the tip. So it kind of looks like a quill pen. So we're going to bring this around here. Okay, and then you see I finish it off here. Boom. And just like that, we have our leaf. So great. So now that we're here, we can actually take our wide flat brush and I'm going to make sure that I have plenty of water on it. And I'm going to use the green paint we were just using for the outline. And I'm just going to lightly fill in the whole thing with this watery green color. Just so I have a nice light layer inside of the leaf. So try to get every corner, try to fill in all of the white space in here. So basically now that we have this layer, we're gonna be like kind of the same way we went from left to right with building the leaf. We're gonna go from highlight to shadow until our leaf really starts to have volume and take shape. You can see the difference. One looks very 2D, one looks more 3D. So let's start with some highlights. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take some yellow and we're gonna scoop it in a new section with just a dot of red to make a nice orange color. And you want it to be more blood orange than like bright. So this is getting darker, but I think I want it a little darker. Okay. So, ooh, you can see this color. It's like a dark orange. We're not gonna need a ton of it. So I'm using my medium brush, my round brush. And what I'm gonna do is accentuate where the highlights of the light or the sun would be hitting the leaf with a little orange so that we see the reflection of like the sun color. So I'm just gonna hit the leaf with some light short strokes going around the edges and a little bit of a streak coming down this leaf here and a little bit on this side of the leaf too. So let's see. I'm also gonna put a little on this leaf section right here. Let's put a few so it makes sense. And that last little part I told you about up here, I'm literally just gonna make a streak like that. And that's it. Once you do that, you can clean your brush, but clean it very, very well because we're gonna need it again for a lighter color. And you kind of want to do this next part before this little streak here dries too much. So I'm literally now just using yellow only. And I'm going over those very same sections I just did and just kind of blending them up into the other part of the leaf. So I really look like this is the sun reflecting off of the leaf. We see the yellow sun color or the yellow of the light. Okay, so we have this yellow here happening. We're gonna do some more on the middle of this leaf here. And we'll do the same on this one here. Nice and yellow. And like I said, you don't want your streak here to dry too much. So we're gonna take the yellow and we're gonna blend that streak in to what's happening here. You see how I'm just going over that and blending it with the yellow? So now it's just becomes a part of the leaf. Now, if you can see on my original picture, I did add some more yellow to other parts of the leaf. So if you like, you can follow me in adding some on this side too, just towards those edges of the leaves, not too much. You see, it's just a few strokes. I'm not gonna add much more than that. And just put maybe a couple streaks here and a couple here. Maybe one more here. And that's it. Actually, I think I'm gonna put this yellow down along the center on this side too. Like so. Boom. So now here's where the black comes in. I have some leftover green here, and I still have yellow on my brush. I'm gonna just dot my brush into this black ever so gently, just with the tiniest bit of paint. I don't even think you can see it. And I'm gonna mix it into this black, and it's gonna become like a grayish, brownish green. Like so. That's the green we already had. There was some good water mixed in there and everything. And I'm gonna saturate my brush, and I'm gonna start coming in and doing the shadows. So the shadows on the leaf are gonna be towards the ends of the leaf itself. So at the end of each of these leaves, we're gonna have a little darkness. And then we're also gonna have darkness around these open edges of the leaves too. So just very gently, we're gonna make some streaks going along those areas. Not too crazy.
Ashley,
Mm-hmm.
what did you say? You said put some of the green on your brush?
Oh, sorry, the green I had from before, I added some black to it. So now it's like kind of a muddy green color. And that's what I'm using for the first set of like shadow that we're doing. And you see, we'll go around the edges of the leaves here. Trying as best we can to blend it. You shouldn't really need too much paint. Okay, I'm probably also gonna put some lines here. Create a little shadow along the center. Like that. I'll do one on the other side too, around my yellow that I already have here. So now we have a nice highlight of the yellow in parts of the leaves, showing where the sun's gonna hit. And we have the nice shadow on the outside defining everything that's going on there. We're ready for blue. So I'm leaving my brush with the green. And this is kind of the fun part where you get to be an artist and have fun with it and go a little crazy. We're gonna do a blue shadow and then let it dry. And then we're gonna come in with some white highlights. So then our leaf will be finished. So I still have green and I added some blue. And I'm gonna take that blue and I'm gonna just start making some nice light lines coming in around these edges where it's darker. The beautiful thing is if it's too blue, which it most likely will be, we just go over it afterwards with the yellow and it all blends really, really nicely together and gives it like a really rich color to your leaf. You see? So if we just fill in these little areas here, it's gonna look really nice. Okay, so like for example, mine is looking so blue. So I'm gonna just go over some of that with some yellow and keep it moving because it's gonna look really nice when it all blends together. Okay, so I'm liking that side. Now it's just gonna need some nice white highlights. So let me do the other side. This is looking nice. I'm just going over the dark blue parts I made with the yellow, just finalizing. We'll put some highlights and we're Gucci. I actually, on mine, I did add a background. So if you guys want, you can do that too. And the background that I did on this one was that I literally just added some white to this orange color we made earlier. So it just was like a very light off-white color. So if you want, you can do that, or you can leave the background white. Either way, it will look good. So I'm liking how dark mine is now. I think I'm ready for highlights. And then, your highlights are gonna be very easy. So the shape of the leaf, it curves out. So that means your highlights are mostly gonna be around this like center area of this side of the leaf. And then on this edge here. And we're just gonna blend in some whites into these spaces so that we're seeing the reflection of the light off of the plant itself. So let's see. Do some here, and I'm just doing a light sideways strokes, blending it in as I go. Do some here. You're gonna see it come to life in a second here. All it takes is a little highlight and shadow. We'll go another section right here. Okay. See how it just automatically gives it this shape, this depth to it. Let's do the other side. Maybe I do have time to paint the background for you guys real quick so you can see how I did it. Here's that color. I'm taking the orange and I'm literally just mixing it in here. It's just a nice off-white peachy color. Complements really nicely with the green. So the first step is you just fill in all your little spaces. Then you're gonna go around your perimeter. And then you're gonna finish off all of the white space. So allow me to demonstrate. It's also nice when you do the background this way. Sometimes it gives you more room to fix any mistakes you have on your object that you painted. Not always, but sometimes it's nice to do it this way. Okay. I almost have my whole outline. I know we're over the time, but I'm almost done.